Alrighty, and welcome to the stream. I am Bahamut, your caster, and I forgot to change my cursor size again. We are going into Infernal Shrines. On the left-hand side, we have Ascension, and on the right, we have Evel Medivhel. We're going to have the Right Away Ariel band coming out. This is also, just want to note, Division 1 for Chair League. So the Ariel being banned out here, looks like they're trying to make sure that there is no combo run with that. Cho'Gall is technically a threat on this map, as well as there are combinations of the Gul'dan with the Ariel, as well as Vala. Those two are paired well on this map together during these shrine fights, and she's just overall extremely... She's strong on the shrine fights because she also has a lot of areas where she can whip people into for that stun, and that follow-up can be quite menacing. And she pairs actually well with that into the Diablo. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a draft right there that you can definitely kind of mitigate by taking her out of the fight. So, on the side of Ascension, they're going to be taking their time on this first ban. It's going to be the Genji. So gonna go ahead and get rid of that poke damage that you get from him, as well as the cleanup that he does provide to some of those lower health heroes with those resets on the dash. We do have Uther being picked up on the side of Evel Medivhel right off the bat, so they wanted that healer. They got it. Now in response, in this 1-2 slot on the side of Ascension, on Infernal Shrines, you could definitely go ahead and pick up something. If you want to go ahead and lock in your healer, that would be strong here. But you're also going to want to make sure that you do get a strong Shrine Fighter as well. So they could either go with a Shrine Fighter or Shriner or whatever you want to call it, and a tank or a healer. So I would think something like a Greymane would pair well with a Rhaegar or a Stitches, because Stitches does have that big slam that he can definitely use to lower the health pools of a lot of those skeletal defenders. But there are other things like Gul'dan who do provide very good clear. So they're actually going to go ahead and get Arthas and Lunara. So I like this very much out of them. Arthas being that strong solo laner, and he does do well on these shrines on this map. Now Lunara providing a lot of poison damage, and that's going to be really difficult for Uther to burst back up if she does spread it to many of the members. So that is a strong pick, and she does have a lot of poke as well, and she does provide vision for the rotation. So good picks on the side of Ascension. Now, Evel Medivhel, Uther's been picked up. They can go ahead and lock in a tank and an assassin here, and that way they can flex on their last two slots. So once again, just leaning into that Stitches wouldn't be a bad idea. As well as, I don't think they're going to go for it. Maybe on the side of Ascension they might go Stukov, but Stukov is quite interesting on this map. But they're going to go ahead and get that global threat with the Dahaka, and as well as get very good Shrine Clear from the Kael'thas. Now, we're going into our second ban phase here. So at this point on the side of Ascension, they're looking at the enemy team thinking, all right, they have an Uther, Dahaka, and Kael'thas. They need melee damage, and they also need a tank, a main tank. So if they're not going to take it, I still think the Greymane's a plausible ban. They're going to be going into a second tank because I don't think they're going to solo with the Dahaka. So the Greymane would be a strong pickup on the side of Ascension because you do have that Cursed Bullet, which would, it just halves the health of a tank, which then you could potentially bait the Divine Shield from the Uther just for that extra protection. So it'd be a strong lock.
New follower detected.
Well, thank you so much for the follow, TXZ. Here's what they're going to be banning out here. It's going to be the Diablo, and that's what we talked about a little bit earlier with that Ariel. Diablo does have very good shrine fights because there are those tight corridors that he can charge people into. So you get the first stun off of that, then you get the overpower stun. So it's just he's extremely strong in the shrine fights, and he does have that AOE that I believe he gets at level 4 from the Fire Stomp, or unless it was baked into his kit, and I'm thinking of his old kit. But either way, this is a strong ban on the side of Ascension. Now, going back to my Greymane point for Evil Medieval. I'm thinking that's what they might want to ban out if they're not going to be picking it up themselves, but it is a little risky to let it go through. I don't think they're going to solo with the Lunara, and there's going to be the Grey Mage ban. Okay, it's a really smart ban on the side of Evil Medieval because it does take away that huge burst at the start of a fight, and Lunara can then just capitalize on all that damage. So, now, on the side of Ascension, they're going to need to be picking up a healer here. I personally think that the Rhaegar is going to be the choice, mostly because of the Ancestral for the second life bar. That pairs well into the Arthas, who does have the Army of the Dead, so he does have quite a bit of sustain at that point. Placing that on Lunara as well does provide her the ability to stay in some of these fights. She is quite squishy, and she does get locked down by the Dahaka Kael'thas combo. There's a lot of CC on the side of Evil Medieval that they need to be worried about. I'm thinking the Rhaegar would be choice. But then again, I did slightly talk about the Stukov a little bit. He does have some zoning control for these shrines, so he is also quite good. But they're going to go ahead and get the Tychus and the Rhaegar. Now, the Tychus being picked up because of the fact that, as I said, they're going to be going into a secondary tank because they showed that Dahaka. So Tychus being able to do a lot of that percentile damage towards tankier heroes, as well as having really good shrine clear with his overpower, as well as the little bit of displacement you get from the grenade will be extremely powerful. So these last two picks, though, on the side of Evil Medieval, they have been known to run Medivh, and it's a possibility that they could do that. They're going to go ahead and get the Stitches. I'm trying to think what else would really... I mean, Alarak would work here too, but I know that Medivh is... I mean, it's Evil Medieval. I mean, it's a possibility. But let's see here. It's actually going to be the Tyrande. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to go into the Starfall for the level 10 pickup, or if they're going to go for the Shadow Stock for the kind of assassin-y build that I've been seeing out of some Tyrande play lately. And the Tyrande here, it combos well with the Stitches hooks, as well as there's just so much. Basically, each person on the side of Evil Medieval has some sort of stun. Uther has a stun, Dahaka has the tongue, Kael'thas has the whirlwind, Stitches has the hook, Tyrande has the lunar flare. So everyone has some sort of stun, and it's going to be extremely hard to deal with. Now, this last pick, they can solo with the Arthas. That is plausible. At the same time, I touched on that Alarak, and I think that would be extremely useful because a lot of these members do group up in these shrine fights. So the displacement you get from the telekinesis, as well as the silence, will be extremely beneficial to counteract those stuns, I think. So maybe it's gonna be Joanna. Joanna actually she gives blinds, but. Is she just gonna blind the Tyrande? Are they picking up the Joanna just for the shrine fight? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Or that maybe they're just picking her up just to be more of tanky and let Arthas be a little more bruisery? Huh. Well, we're gonna find out as we go into our first match of the evening with Ascension versus Evil Medieval on Infernal Shrines. And on the left-hand side, we have VFDG on Tychus, Chilrog on Joanna, Teskumi on Rhaegar, Titan's King on Arthas, and Christopher on Lunara. On the right-hand side, we have Domovarian on Tyrande, Bobby Frank on Stitches, Aqualed on Uther, Zalori on Dahaka, and TXZ on Kael'thas. So, going into this match, I would assume that the Dahaka will be going up against the Arthas in the top lane, and that's the reason they actually chose the Joanna, so that way they can put her down in bottom for the 4-man rotation between mid and... Oopsie, that's my mouse going off to the side. Alright. So, let's take a quick peek at some of these level 1 talents. We are going to be seeing the Lunar Flare build from the Tyrande, so I'm assuming she might be going into that... Shadow Stalk build is a possibility still. Dahaka is going to be taking that speed boost. Slam build from the Stitches. We are going to have the, I believe it's running gun, excuse me, dash from the Tychus.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We cannot tarry.
All right. So into this first match we go. We do have a 5-man in mid. Hook does come out. There is the oh my goodness! Right away there, you're just getting pulled in, and Titan's King will be annihilated right off the bat. So that's gonna be first blood going over to Evel Medivhel with that combination as we talked about, with just so much CC. They get one hook and they literally just follow up with just the whirlwind, the stun from Tyrande, the stun from Uther. So that's just terrifying. Now Dahaka is in top, as we do see, and I just want to note this. It wasn't in the patch notes, but on the minimap, the icons move through the map so much smoother, and they're actually really, really clear at this point too. So just want to just shout out to Blizzard for doing an amazing job with their just new art on that. We do see a hook go out. It does not connect, so they will not be able to get another kill with that. So as we were saying, the looks like the Arthas is in top lane, so the Johanna was picked up for that bottom lane rotation between the mid and bottom. So we do have some of the members coming up through this middle, a little aggressive. So on the side of Evel Medivhel, they are a little bit slow in the rotations. They do get the slam out, but unfortunately they do not have the members in the correct position to get those kills, so they will be able to back out. It does slow them down in the rotation a little bit. Johanna was down there trying to push it up, but with that kill fast, they'll be able to clear this up, get back onto these, back into this bottom lane. Now Tychus is not here. Johanna is a little far forward. If they can maybe get a hook, they get it onto the Lunara. She does get collapsed upon, and that is going to be her falling just as this first altar is starting. So with that, we do have this being started. The camps are starting to pop right now as well. Tychus will be backing off in mid lane. He's actually going to be rotating safely to his side. We do have a... Oops, hitting the wrong key. I was trying to figure out why my camera wasn't zooming in. But we do have a few of the members pushing up these lanes a little bit here. Now, Dahaka can burrow in at any point, so this Arthas is going to have to be a little safe. He is pushing up quite hard up against the Dahaka. It looks like just by taking a peek at the map. But unfortunately, once Dahaka clears, he can rotate down in, and there is a stun onto the Johanna. She does pop her Iron Skin. She does get whirlwinded. There is a little bit of a chase onto her. Some of the members are running around this corner just to meet back up with them. They are coming back onto this fight. Looks like Lunara is going to be taking the... They're going to be playing this safe, and they're really just going to be trying to zone them out a little bit. I guess once the Dahaka disappears in top, that Arthas will be making rotation. And it looks like he's just kind of chasing him around. There is a ton onto him as well. But I don't think he'd be falling too early. Now, there is the stun onto the Tychus. There is no follow-up damage, unfortunately. I do not believe there was a hook available. And it's currently pretty evenly matched. It's starting to go over to the side of Evel Medivhel, but Ascension, they do have their Arthas en route, so they might be able to stall this out. No, it looks like they're going to go ahead and get this up. Fortunately, the Tychus does go in, and he will be getting killed. The rest of the team will be blinded by the Johanna. Arthas is coming in from the top, but the team is just 5-man route. Unfortunately, there's a hook from the Stitches. They get the stun onto him. Looks like the Kael'thas will be able to getting that kill, and that is going to be a second kill right before this Punisher is spawned. Going to this bottom lane, we do have the Punisher baited over the wall, so they're probably going to be taking it right between these two towers right here. Or actually, excuse me, you want to take it over here, so attack those two towers, keep your well safe, as well as having that second tower shooting at it. They do burn down this gate quite quickly. That's probably all they're going to be getting. They do get the hook onto the Rhaegar, and I lied. The bird follow-up. The Rhaegar will be running away with just a sliver of health. So they will just be getting this gate. They do not get the fort. They save the well, it looks like. They're actually pushing back onto some of these members. The 7 talents are not here yet for Ascension, so they do need to play a little bit safe. And while we have some of these rotations going back for mana, as well as going for some of these camps and clearing up waves, let's take a peek at some of these talents. Looks like we are going to have this camp picked up in bottom lane by Evel Medivhel. Oh, never mind. They actually went in for a flank onto this Lunara, who looks like she's going to be falling. And that is going to be another combo kill. They do get the stun onto the Joanna. I believe she should have Iron Skin. There is the root from the Arthas, which should slow them down. They're going to have to disengage at this point, and they're just going to be able to walk away with 1 kill. So they do have 5 kills on the side of Evel Medivhel, and there's only just about a 3/4 level lead. And this is mostly due to the fact that it's just early game at this point. These kills, they are winning the macro game. They're forcing Ascension back so they can't really stay on these altars. And so that's why they're winning the map objective. But at this point, there's only about a half level difference because the early game experience from kills isn't that great. But at the same time, they are just putting them at a disadvantage, and they're just taking control of the map that way. So it's strong showing from Evel Medivhel. Now, Ascension does have really, really good shrine clear and really good shrine fight. I apologize for missing that. They must have ganked them right here. Once this late game starts, I believe that once the 10 talents hit, I think we should see a little bit difference in a fight. These combos that we're seeing from the Stitches hook might be a little bit harder because of the fact that there's the Ancestral. We do have Cleanse from the Rhaegar because he just picked it up about a level ago. So, and he didn't have it before for the last Shrine fight. We do have this camp starting out from top lane. Unfortunately, Tychus is getting extremely low. Kael'thas might be able to get a Whirlwind. The bird just barely misses. And this is going to be a Tychus just barely getting away. Now, with that, he does have to rotate back and get full mana, so he will be Hearthing. Looks like Rhaegar's going to go ahead and start that top left camp. Meanwhile, though, Evel Medivhel will start on the Shrine. They are about half a level away from 10. So this is going to be a little bit hard on the side of Ascension. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and give this up and work on that bottom lane, get that fort down here. And so what they're doing is, I mean, logically, I think the next would be top lane. But it just puts them at a more superior advantage to be in that bottom lane because of the fact that it's just harder. It's a harder rotation for Evel Medivhel to make, whereas top lane would be a lot quicker. We do have this camp being pushed back in top. That will also signify on the right-hand side that Punisher is being summoned for Evel Medivhel. Now, this gate does have about half its health, half its shots, or 1 or 2 shots actually. They're going to let this Punisher just push in. Looks like they're going to go ahead and get this kill onto Arthas as well. So that is going to be an extremely aggressive push. Now, they have this Punisher. It's about half health at this point. Unfortunately, the stun from the Toronto was just a little bit early. Now Stitches is going in on this Tychus, who is slowly losing health. The jump does come out from the Punisher onto Lunara, and is starting to chunk her down. Now, she will be able to get away. They get the fort as well. I don't think they're going to get much more than this. They might get a gate out. If they get a kill, maybe they can capitalize a little bit further, but I don't foresee that happening. Now, there is the Leaping Strike from the Lunara. Future Bile does come out from the Stitches. The stun is there. The Ancestral already is hitting onto one of the members. Now, the Future Bile is slowing many of these people down. The Leaping Strike comes out from Lunara. She is really far forward. She gets collapsed upon. Odin is called down as they start to retreat away, trying to get some of this damage, but the Dahaka gets the grab, and that is going to be Tychus falling out of Odin, and that is going to be a 3-for-0 trade with 2 more levels going over to Evel Medivhel. They did get this bottom fort and push in quite a bit, so this is going to have to be responded to by Evel Medivhel. Same time, though, they've got a lot of map pressure currently happening. They're working on this camp over here. I can expect them to probably work on to the right side, maybe even the bottom. Looks like Arthas will be scouted out. He's going to get stunned out by so many things. The Phoenix goes out as well, and he will be falling too. Now in bottom lane, we do have the Rhaegar currently working on that camp. It might be sniffed out by Evel Medivhel, but it looks like they're going to go for this right side first. Ronda will use her Shadow Stalk to rotate up, maybe trying to get a sneaky pick onto the Tychus. I'm curious. So these both are up here, so she is going in. The tongue does miss, and they go for the disengage. They say it's not worth it. Once they miss the tongue, I don't think they can go for that. Joanna is coming up, though, at this point. They need to be careful. I don't think they see this rotation coming from behind them. The shield is out. Now, Arthas is here as well. It looks like there's 2v3. Tychus is quite low. If they do get him down, this is bad, but unfortunately, Toronto will be falling, and I think this is going to be the Dahaka falling as well. He doesn't have Burrow, and I don't think he has Adaptation. Unfortunately, that will be 2 kills going over to Ascension. And this is the perfect positioning, as I was saying before. The top lane is, where you might want to work down. But luckily for them, they will be able to burn down this gate and potentially get a Punisher. At the same time, even Medivhel will be pushing into the bottom very aggressively, getting that fort for the next time the Punisher is down there, potentially being able to push him to a keep. Ascension goes ahead and takes this advantage with not seeing the team rotating in just yet. They're going to go ahead and take out their well. They're going to burn down this fort a little bit. They are forcing a rotation out of 2 of the members of Ascension. Looks like they were faking it, though. Toronto does come up. We do have an invade from the enemy team. Now, this is a 3v4. The hook does come out. All right, so most of the members are here. Dahaka is in bottom, but he should have burrowed any second, so he would be able to come up for a flank, maybe. At this point, though, we do have... Excuse me. We do have the vision out. There is a stun from the Toronto. It does not connect. The shield does come out from the Joanna as well. They are trying to push some of these members back, but unfortunately Bobby Frank will be falling as well. Lunara is getting the leaping strikes onto the Toronto. She is falling extremely low. There is the Uther, who's really just getting right in Lunara's face. She's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to have to use the D-shield on himself. They get the backline stun onto the Rhaegar, but the Odin is dealing so much damage as they're running away. They get this chase, and it looks like they're going to start to turn this engagement around. At first, it was going a little bit over to the side of Evel Medivhel, but as I said, like once they got those 10 talents, a lot of these fights started to turn around. The combo was really good on the side of Evel Medivhel. It was extremely powerful for those singular picks. But with Cleanse being picked up, with Lunar having an out, with Rhaegar having the Ancestral, with Joanna having the shield for the stun, there's all these factors that now make it so much harder to run that single target, hook and burst down. So at this point, we do have the Punisher going over to Ascension. This is an 11-minute Punisher, which is stronger than the 2 previous, obviously. But it's also an arcade Punisher, which is just extremely... It's the strongest Punisher, in my opinion, in the game. So it's not something you want to be going up against, especially if it's the enemy's first one. They've already burned down a fort, and it's a little up there in damage and health. So they'll be able to just delay them a little bit here. 16s are quite close on the side of Evel Medivhel. They will be looking to try and capitalize on that as soon as they get it. Now, they do get the Punisher over the wall. They're going to pull it over to these 2 towers. So the Keep and this tower will be shooting it, and only the tower will be taking most of the brunt of this damage. Looks like they'll just get a hook onto a minion, unfortunately. And even Medivhel will clear this out and not lose a Keep. They might lose the tower. Nope. Looks like the Arcane Spinners will go ahead and miss that. We do have 16, though, on the side of Evel Medivhel, so that's why we did see the disengage from Ascension, as well as the fact that they really had no minion wave to really push up with, as well as any sort of lane advantage. There was no man down or anything, so at this point, I like how we have the Toronto next to a Wisp. It looks like they do know she's there. I think they do see the Shimmer. But it looks like at this point, we're going to have a couple... I was waiting just to see if maybe someone's going to go in for a pick or something. But it does not look like that's going to be happening. So in mid, we're going to be seeing this pushback. In bottom, we're going to be seeing this camp. And it looks like Dahaka is going to be pushing up this top lane in anticipation for this camp, just to make sure that that's not going to be sieging up against the keep too quickly. Now, we do have this huge fight down in bottom lane. You have a root from the Arcus. There is a huge stun from the Toronto. The Phoenix does come out. Now Dahaka does come into the backline. The Ancestral does not connect onto the Lunar, so they will be getting that kill. Now, we do have the Tychus in a bad position because he is between the Dahaka and the Stitches, and he just gets hit so many times. Dahaka pops his adaptation, I believe, or it was used. Either way, he will be living, and it looks like they're going to be getting a 4-for-nothing trade. So it looks like this is going over to Evel Medivhel, and they're going to be pushing up onto this keep gate. So now we do have a Punisher in mid. At top, Evel Medivhel did have to send their Dahaka back to push back against that camp that he left right away to make sure that he got into that backline Rhaegar, so Lunara, so they make sure they get rid of that damage right off the bat. And that was extremely strong play. That's the Dahaka play that I've seen people do, and I'm like, that's the Dahaka play I need to learn from. Those flanks that you can get in a team fight like that are so extremely strong. They go ahead and they push up, and they get a lot of these dismounts as they're leaving here. Even Medivhel does pull in the Tychus and gets a little slam off onto him. So while we have this next shrine starting up and we have the rotations, let's finally take a peek at some of these talents. Actually, it looks like we might have an engagement. There's a slow from the Stitches to buy a little bit of time. We'll be getting out of this, though. So a level advantage on the side of even Medivhel. They're getting quite close to their 19, so it's not a power spike by any means from just the level, and there's no talent tier advantage, but it still is, there's a little bit more power that you do have. I think by power advantage I meant talent tier advantage. But either way, here we go. This is going to be extremely beneficial if even Medivhel can get this. But Ascension, they are on the same talent tier. They do have this. They do have the potential for this fight. All the ultimates are up. Ronda does have her Starfall. Looks like she'll be able to go right back in it. They're poking with their Kael'thas. They get the slow from the Stitches. But it looks like, okay, just waiting. There's a hook from the Stitches onto the Lunar, who is getting a lot of damage put onto her, though. We have a huge stun from the Joanna, I believe. There's the A almost onto Titan's King. He almost got hit by the stun from the Tyrande, but at the same time, we do have the Stitches trying to disengage with that Putrid Bile. Unfortunately, he wasn't getting chased. There was so much damage onto the Dahaka, who ends up getting the drag onto Arthas. Lunar is leaping back and forth, trying to get the kill onto the Stitches. Unfortunately, Uther is going to be healing him up just enough. Now, there is this stun onto the Tychus, who will be able to get out, but they still get the Punisher on the side of Evil Medivhel. But they need to disengage from this quite quickly. They don't want to be leaped on too early because they want to make sure they baited over this gate. Whew, what an engagement that was. So we do have 20s really close on the side of Evil Medivhel. One more minion wave and they should be able to achieve those. And with this Punisher, that is going to be an extremely scary thing to be going up against. Now, the Punisher didn't get baited over right away. They get this gate down already. They're going to be pushing in with this. Now, the Dahaka is trying to soak for that 20. It looks like he got it. They should have the Brush Stalk already. Looks like we have... Okay, nothing out of the ordinary. We do have the jump from the Punisher onto the Tychus, though, who is going to be taking a significant amount of damage. Hook from the Stitches onto the Tychus, but there is unfortunately no follow-up. They try and time it out with the Roots. The Arthas is getting extremely low, but the Tychus is being focused currently. Pull back from the Joanna, but the Future Bile gives them a disengage. He should have a hook at this point. Might see that coming out onto one of the targets. It ends up hitting one of the Living Dead, Army of the Dead members. They do actually send up the Phoenix. They're going to try and take this fight once again. Now, Arthas is extremely far into this team with the Joanna. Tychus is really low. The Ancestral does come out at the last second onto him. Odin is popped at this point, and they are going to be start pushing back against even Medivhel. Now, they are healed up quite good. They do get the stun of the Rhaegar. The Chain Bomb doesn't get the heal, or the kill, excuse me. Tychus is chasing quite well with his Odin, and they don't have the upgrade with the big red button or anything. Some of the team is starting to split up. They do get the stun onto the Earth to slow this down. It looks like the Dahaka will get away because he does go through the brush, which gives him that little bit of speed bonus, and that will be a clean disengage from even Medivhel. Whew. Meanwhile, though, in bottom we do have this extremely large archer wave pushing into this keep. Luckily, this will be cleaned up quite quickly. Even Medivhel will play the safe thing here and go ahead and take their top camp. This should be coming up with the Punisher quite soon. I believe it should be another like 30 seconds or so. There should be another Punisher shrine popping up, and I believe the next one will be bottom, or I think it's going to be bottom. Or it's randomized between bottom and top. I can't remember. But either way, the Dahaka is positioned up there to kind of push up that wave a little bit more. They do scout this out. Okay, so it is bottom. So they do have a keep really low. Now, they do get this Joanna. She does use her Iron Skin. The hook does not connect. I think it actually hit one of the minions from the camp. But they go ahead and they take this right away. And this is going to be pushing into their mid, where there is no keep currently. And they're going to want to make sure that they push up this bottom wave as much as possible. They're going to go ahead and get this camp with that. This way, because they want to go ahead and confirm this keep before the Punisher pops. But still, on the same note, on the side of Team Ascension, they can get their 20s. They need about, I think, like 3 or 4 minion waves, and they can go ahead and get their 20s. But until they have that, they really can't go into this too hard. Now, Dahaka is in top. They're going to have to respond to that. He does have the brush shock, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him getting caught out here. But you never know. They could get a root onto him. He starts to burrow. The root does miss, and he just goes straight away. So luckily, he will be getting out nice and easily. He goes into mid. It looks like he'll be pushing that up now, making sure those catapults are starting to pressure that core. So at this point, we do have a Punisher going over to the side of Evel Medivhel. This is going to be pushing onto a keep that will be quite low, but this also in mind is a 20-minute Punisher, so these things are starting to get really strong. Now there is the collapse onto the Arthas. He does get cleansed. The Ancestral is up. I don't think they're going to use it just yet, though. I think the slow into Tychus. Tychus does pop his Odin. He does have the big red button to try and get a little bit more damage out to some of these members. There is the stun from the Toronto, but Joanna uses her Unstoppable right away. Stitches gets his Putrid Bile out, chasing down this Lunara. The Punisher is currently working on the well. The members of Evel Medivhel do start to regroup. Ascension is on their final stand for defense. Looks like they're going to be getting the drag onto the Odin, and that is going to be Tychus falling. That's going to be Rhaegar falling as well. They get the Lunara. It looks like Arthas could potentially, he will be chasing them away. They get the drag onto him. That should be good night for him. And this Punisher and team will start working on this core. That is going to be the first game going over to Evel Medivhel. GG, well played. All right. And welcome back to our second game of the evening. We have, on the left-hand side, Ascension, and on the right, we have Evel Medivhel up 1 game in this best of 3. We're going to Towers of Doom here on our second match. I am Bahamut, your lovely caster for the evening for this match. Just so you guys know, after this match at 8 p.m. PST, we have another match up with... I should look these things up before I announce them. Team Lishorn versus Tire Fire Pyre. That's going to be fun to say all match. But that's coming up at 8 p.m. PST, so please swing by for that one too. And stay tuned after this match. Not after this match. After this this matchup, I guess. After this best of 3, we're going to just find a cheerlead coaster, and we're going to go ahead and just put you guys into another cheerlead game. So stay tuned for that one as well. Now, going into this draft, we have the Stitches being banned out, as well as the Uther on this map. Strong bans. The Stitches being able to really provide a lot of harass, as well as the last game. That Stitches was something to be feared, so they're definitely going to want to respect ban that out. And it looks like the Uther being banned out on the side of Evel Medivhel means that they're going to not... They don't plan on taking him... They don't plan on taking him themselves. So, on this map, we typically see a lot of prioritization on the Dahaka, but since they have the 1-2 pick area, or the 1-2 pick slot, I wouldn't be too surprised to see a Vala Ariel combo. That seems to be pretty powerful in this map, as well as Gul'dan. But Ariel seems to be a priority here, mostly because of the fact that you don't really need to deal with the mana bar of a healer when you have someone filling up the hope bar constantly. But they're going to go ahead and get that Dahaka as well as the Greymane here. So they're going to go ahead and get 2 strong solo laners. So that puts Greymane in their bottom position and Dahaka in top. And they're going to fill in their mid afterwards. Now Genji probably rotating around with the team. Before going to our next ban phase here, what do you take next? Definitely they could go for... The Arthas wouldn't be a bad idea, and maybe pairing it up with a Stukov as well, because Stukov does provide some good zoning on this map, as well as with a lot of the team fighting that needs to happen. The spread of his pathogen is extremely powerful. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see one of the teams being prioritizing Stukov on this map here. So they're going to go ahead and pick up the Arthas and the Malfurion. Now, Malfurion's actually a really good selection here due to the fact that he does have those roots. And so they do have a root from the Arthas, they have a root from Malfurion, and this is starting to build a lot for the Genji to make sure that he picks up those, low health heals. If they do get that, far off root, Genji can dash forward, get the burst damage that they need. So it's going to be a really, really good 2 picks on their side. Now, for even Medivhel, they're going to be banning first here. So they're going to want to ban out something that'll affect Team Ascension, or I keep saying Team Ascension, but also not hinder their own comp. Now, they're going to need another tank themselves. Garrosh is technically available. He is up for play. I don't know if anyone's going to be playing him yet, but... or if maybe there's a mutual agreement that they're just not going to play him. Because some teams do that. So... I think banning out a global here like a Falstad would be good. Okay, cool. Alright. Nice. I'm looking at their comp and I'm like, they don't really have any sort of global threat. So the Falstad, they're not going to really pick up a Brightwing because they have the Malfurion. They're not going to pick up a Brightwing with a Malfurion. It just wouldn't... Yeah, it just wouldn't work out. As well as... This is interesting. So, on the side of Ascension, they're going to want to ban out something that cripples Eva Medivhel a little bit here now. I think banning out the Rhaegar at this point would probably be your best bet. He's an extremely strong healer, and maybe you just don't want to deal with that. Now, Stukov, as I was talking about, is a potential threat. But I'm just trying to figure out... Okay, they're going to actually ban out the Tassadar. That's a strong ban, but I don't think they would end up just soloing with the Greymane. Because if they go Tassadar, that means that they're still going to be picking up another healer because they're not going to solo heal with it, which only leaves one slot after that, which would be a tank. So that basically would be you would have 2 healers, a tank, and then you just have your Greymane for your damage. And while, yeah, you do have your 2 healers, it's just a lot of focus on just the Greymane to be in every fight, making sure he's capitalizing on every kill. And now on the pickup side, what do they get? The Rhaegar is still open. I personally think the Rhaegar is a good choice. And then pairing that well with something like maybe a Lunara for the vision and the speed. They're actually going to go for the Tyrande and the Rhaegar. So I was wrong about it being a double healer. Granted, I mean, Tyranda's not so much a healer. She's got some healing, but definitely not soloing with that. So she can be a little bit more of a nuisance. Now, Chromie and Zarya being picked up on the side of Ascension. So what they're basically planning on doing is just doing a lot of damage with that Chromie and then having Genji get shielded by the Zarya and capitalizing on the low health healers, I can assume. That's what makes sense to me. Now on the side of even Medivhel, they're going to need a main tank. Hi Silent Planet TV. Thanks for coming to my stream. Thanks to everyone who came in my in chat. Thank you for coming. All right. This last slot, I feel like it has to be another tank. ETC wouldn't be bad here. Murden wouldn't be... I think Murden would be actually the optimal choice. I'm always forgetting a tank, though. It's going to be like Rexar or something. No, it's going to be Diablo. And that's the one Diablo works really well here because for the same premise as what I had described on Infernal Shrines, where there's a lot of team fighting area and there's a lot of areas for him to charge people. So that is a really, really good pickup on the side of even Medivhel. But these teams are quite scary. You have the Chromie dealing a whole lot of damage to that backline. And you have the Genji dashing in and getting really in there. So it's really, if they do get the lockdown onto one of them with the Dahaka or the Tyrande or even the Diablo, it's going to be terrifying. But on the left-hand side, we have Ascension with Titans King on Arthas, Tasukumi on Malfurion, Chilrog on Zarya, VDFG on Genji, and Jenny on Chromie. On the right-hand side, we have Evel Medivhel with Dalmavarian on Tyrande, Aqualad on Rhaegar, Zalori on Dahaka, TXZ on Greymane, and Bobby Frank on Diablo.
Prepare yourself for battle, heroes.
Alrighty, so checking on some of these first level talents.
The battle begins in
Nothing too
10
out of the ordinary. They have a
seconds.
lot of vision on the side of Ascension with the scouting
5,
drone as well
4,
as the Time Walker's
3,
Pursuit.
2,
It's going to be
1.
really, really beneficial for Ascension
Let
here.
the battle begin.
But here we go into game number 2, Ascension versus Evel Medivhel on Towers of Doom. Do have this bush right away. Zarya does scout it out with the grenade. As well as Chromie getting a lot of damage right off the bat out into Diablo. We do have the Dahaka rotating up into the top lane already. I would not be too surprised to see the Greymane doing the same towards bottom. You get a flip from the Diablo. There's a root from the Malfurion, and that is going to be the Diablo falling right away. First blood going over to Ascension. Alright, so this Genji is going to be going up in top, actually, with the Chromie staying in mid. Dahaka will be pushing up just every so often, probably against him. Now, in mid, we do have this fight currently with the Rhaegar currently falling. And this Chromie is starting to pick apart. Now, granted, we're a minute into the game, and I'm saying they're starting to, but this Chromie is definitely dealing a whole lot of damage to some of these members. Let's just take a quick peek. We're already sitting at about 4k damage, hero damage from the Chromie. And just this artillery that she provides is from these, from this backline is extremely hard to kind of predict, and unfortunately she has that Time Walker's Pursuit, so the vision that she gets from that is extremely powerful, in that she can really start to get some of the, start to weaken up some of these members. In bottom though, we do have this Tyrande coming down. There is a stun with the bird onto the Malfurion, who is getting charged by the Rhaegar, but unfortunately will be getting out. Zarya will zone them away here. We do have a... Okay, I thought we were having a collapse onto the Greymane. They are all over this map right now, but it looks like we have a rotation from 2 of the members. They do have the Dahaka staying over in top. So this is going to be a 4-man in bottom. They do see this, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and back off away from here. No, they're going to be staying. Zarya will be getting charged. The flip and the stun are there. They get shots from the Chromie, shots from the Greymane, and it looks like the Genji has been harassing this Dahaka for quite some time. They should be able to get this. I don't know if they can make this rotation quick enough. No, they know that they can't, so they go ahead and they actually try and turn around and take this fight currently. They turn around onto the Zarya and the Malfurion. They get the kill onto Zarya. And I think I realized it as quick as they did. I was like, they can't make that. And I just came back to them, and they're just collapsing onto the Zarya. Now, Malfurion was lucky enough to get away. I believe he had some zoning roots. Genji unfortunately dashes over the wall trying to get onto that camp. He has the dash back just to get out. That was really close. If they got a stun onto him, that might have been curses for him. Now in top we do have the Arthas going up against this Dahaka. Genji is here for a little bit extra damage, which will force the Dahaka towards the gates a little bit more. In bottom we have this Bush party waiting for the Malfurion just to get a lot of position. They do rush right onto him. They get the flip. There is the round of follow-up. Diablo is trying to body block this Malfurion from getting through the gate, but unfortunately do not have the damage yet. Now in mid we do have a response from the team. 3 members are currently rotating down. With this Rhaegar though in the bush, they don't realize that they thought it was only 2 members, but they force a rotation out of Ascension into this bottom lane while they literally just sneak behind them into mid. Oh my god. Okay, so we do have the charge from the Diablo onto the Chromie. There is the follow-up stun, and she will be getting melted right away. And that is going to be their main sort of poke being eliminated. But granted, keep in mind, we do not have an altar phase currently. The Genji does dash away, so he will be able to get out fine there. And this just kind of collapse that they've built around is extremely powerful on the side of Evel Medivhel. But kill-wise, we're looking about equal. Experience-wise, it's a little bit on the side of Evel Medivhel. And I think structures have been pushed in not too much on either side, I don't think. Just a little bit, some tower shots, a little bit of health. So going into this, it's pretty even so far. We're going to see, though, as these late game altars start, we're going to have a couple advantages starting based on level advantage, which we're going to slowly have from Evel Medivhel. We do get a poke here. Dahaka is still on top, trying to work towards that 7 talent. He does have the brush stock at the last second. We do get the... He does actually burrow right down onto the Chromie, excuse me. I didn't even see that happening. It was so quick. And they get that kill. That means that Ascension does have to back off a little bit. And just also really quickly, thank you for the question, Silent Planet. I will take a peek at it after this match. Alright, in mid though, we do have this Dahaka going up against the Arthas. He will be pushing him back a little bit here. He'll rotate up into top just to get that experience. Dahaka will be doing the same. Now we do have this camp getting pushed up by the rest of the team in this bottom. And getting control of this belt tower seems to be the priority right now. They are giving a couple assets to this. They have the Rhaegar going into that camp. They have the Greymane actually flanking onto this Chromie, who is going to be body blocking her a little bit. I wonder if he has the cocktail to follow up. And that will be the kill onto Chromie. In bottom, we do have this Genji pulling some of these members away from the gate. Looks like they're going to be backing up because the Zarya is there as well. But Rhaegar at this point does get that camp, so he will be rotating in with the rest of the team. Diablo getting the charge on and flip onto the Zarya there, but unfortunately there will not be any follow-up damage. The Greymane is in mid still, and the Dahaka is still going up against the Arthas in top lane. And I believe I actually just saw he did pop his essence, so he did use all of that. Arthas did finish his quest as well, and that was a little bit more essence popped. Should be able to get out of that. Now in bottom lane, we do have this small engage over this camp. They do kill a couple of them. Thank you so much for the follow. The charge from Diablo onto the Genji. Unfortunately, though, there is no Lunar Flare. But with 10s on the horizon for Evel Medivhel, they do need to just get a couple more minion waves with that Dahaka in top lane, as well as the Greymane just kind of throwing some cocktails out to get a little bit of damage onto these minion waves. Working towards that 10 so that they just have to force Ascension out of this with their ultimates. They just have to flex at that point. But we do have the Dahaka still on top. We'll be able to confirm that quite soon. Now Malfurion looks like he is going to go ahead and try and pick this up. 10s are here. Shadowstalk is used by the Tyrande. You get the stun out onto the Malfurion at the last second. There is the stun from Chromie onto the Diablo. Now she's chunking some of these members down. The Apocalypse is used. They do get the double stun onto the Arthas, who will be falling here. Now Genji is getting collapsed upon by the Greymane, but they are starting to chase this. Okay, I thought they were going to chase the Chromie away, but it looks like they just kind of zoned her out a little bit. Meanwhile, there is the poke from the Zarya. Rhaegar will be switching sides just to get out of that range. Diablo is trying to body some of this damage. Does get the flip onto her. There is the stun, but it will not be able to capitalize on the kill. Though they do have their Arthas, who is coming up right now. They can push into this fort a little bit. They do have the minion wave for it. The Ancestral actually does come out on the Greymane. It does not look like that. I was gonna say this is a disengage. We'll talk about some talents, but unfortunately no. They go right back in here, getting really aggressive on this Malfurion, who will get the root onto Diablo. About half his health is falling at this point now. 10 has been a reach on the side of Ascension, so they can get a big power spike. They do have the expulsion zone. It looks like the army of the undead, the Dragon Blade. And that is going to be the Malfurion falling, actually. Tyrande falling. The expulsion zone does come out. They will be having the Dahaka burrow, but there is the time lapse onto the Greymane, who does end up falling. But so does Chromie, and this is just a bloodbath currently. Rhaegar will be falling from the Genji dashes. He will be also getting killed. Dahaka will be getting killed, and that is Evel Medivhel falling to Ascension. Whew. Now, at this point, there are very short death timers. 2 of the members are already back up. I believe Diablo had souls, so he just sprang right back up, and a few of the members are coming up now. They also won't be able to get this camp. Tyrande looks like she'll be checking it out just to see. Malfear will be using his Absorber Ward, and she's going to be turning away right away. Does not want to get scouted out by that. Alright, so while we have some of these rotations happening, there might be an engage on this camp, but let's just take a quick... Nope, never mind, we're going to have an engage on this camp. It is 11-11, so it is even levels, even talent tiers. We do get the flip onto this Arthas, who is going to get triple stun from the Diablo and the Tyrande and the Apocalypse. Arthas is getting quite a big couple of roots. There's the Expulsion Zone that keeps some of the members away, but we do have the Arthas falling now. A lot of the members of even Medivhel are quite low. The Zarya is chunking them down with the grenades. They do get the kill onto the Tyrande. The Ancestral does come out onto the Greymane, who is hopping onto the Zarya, who's finally just falling. Now, Dahaka is currently... Does he have burrow or anything? No, he does use his adaptation. Not too much will be charged off of it. But with these altars spawning and a couple of the members dead, they are going to go ahead and just kind of focus on getting these channeled right away. They make sure that they get to the aggressive side before Dahaka can get there. The bird will be out from the Tyrande to get the poke. Greymane is here, so he does have poke as well. They do get the tongue, and there is a dash dive onto him from the Greymane. I don't think there is... Oh, that root saved him. The Greymane is... Okay, Greymane is actually going to be rooted by the Arthas, and there is a ton of damage going out onto him, but there is the heal from the Rhaegar, who just got back up. Now, they did get the left-hand side, so this is all left only for even Medivhel, which the Rhaegar, or excuse me, the Greymane actually captures it. They get the root onto Rhaegar. He will be falling. I believe they get the kill onto Greymane also. And this is just a back-and-forth bloodbath. Tyrande trying to get that little bit extra kill, but unfortunately they will not be getting it. They go ahead and they move straight into the boss because they know without 13s and 2 of their members they can't do too much. So even Medivhel will go ahead and go into bottom lane and take that Sapper camp and push it into their fort because the rotation will be a little long on the side of Ascension for this defense. All right. So they are going to be moving onto this tower now. It looks like in top lane they know that, or Ascension knows that they can't defend this right away, so they're going to let that happen. They get the Sapper camp in top, and they're going to go ahead and push this into the gate. This will give them a little bit of experience. Not going to be pushing them too far ahead, but it's still going to be generating, just keeping that level difference going. Now, the rest of the team does Hearth back. They're going to go ahead and posture very aggressively with this camp that they want to get 3 more shots on the side of even Medivhel. But quite a few members are here now, so they're going to have to be zoned back. Dahaka is up, but I believe he should have burrow still. But it looks like they're just going to go ahead and push up with this, stay underneath the tower. Make sure they don't lose anyone, but they're going to... I think they actually got 1 shot up against Ascension. I think it was 24-24 before this started. Tyrande is in this bush, so it does look like there are only 3 members. It looks like they might be going for a flank.
Rise from the depths.
No, they're gonna bush up here. Okay, so they do see the Diablo. There's a root out. They do have the Zarya getting just bodied, but unfortunately the Chromie is just putting in so much backline damage. They try and get into the expulsion zone. Does get the kill onto the Tyrande. That is the Apocalypse coming out. Genji getting the dash. That will be 2 people falling, 3 people falling on the side of even Medivhel, and it looks like this Greymane will be falling as well, and that is going to be the altar going over to Ascension. Now, on the top right-hand side, they will not be able to get here in time. Dahaka will be getting that altar. So they do get 5 shots over up against Ascension's altar, and they get 6 shots in total on the... I said altar, but I meant core for even Medivhel. Now in mid, they're going to go ahead and just push this up a little bit further. They're going to make sure that they still get this experience gap that they've generated. It's about a level and a half at this point, which is extremely strong, and they do have 16, so some of these fights are going to be hard on the side of even Medivhel too. They even up that level experience. Tyrande is currently coming in here. They do get the charge onto the Arthas, who does get flipped, but the expulsion zone cancels it out at the last second. Okay, so we'll just take a quick peek at some of these 16 talents here. It looks like we do have another Sandblast talent from Chromie. Shifting stands. That's going to be just so devastating. But they actually invade onto this camp. It looks like they were going to go ahead and... they're going to have to disengage on the side of even Medivhel. This is the Diablo getting locked down. The cleanses out from one of the members, the Rhaegar, and as well as the Ancestor healing, they are just currently disengaging, and it looks like they'll be able to get out. Now Titan's King does get the root onto the Tyrande. Dahaka does come in from the back line. There is a huge silence from the Malfurion, though. Diablo will have to back off. Unfortunately, there is no Ancestral. Genji is dashing into a few of the members. They do get the kill onto the Diablo. I don't believe he has soul, so he's going to be back up in a few more seconds. They end up getting this camp. They lose one of the members, but they save this Dahaka. It's a Lori with just minimal health currently. This is scouted out though by the Tyrande, I believe, so they know a few of the members are harking back. But this bottom tower is still being held by Evel Medivhel. It is 18 to 18. We do have altars up at this point, and we should have even talent tiers after a minion wave for Evel Medivhel. Looks like Arthas was going to go ahead and try and work on this with the Chromie and the Zarya. Now Furion will be coming in, but they do get a ton of damage on the Chromie. She will have to back off. The root does not connect onto the Tyrande. Greymane does get the cocktail out, but it will not be doing too much. Now Genji looks like he's going to try. Okay, so he scouts up. Looks like he scouted up that bush. Arthas does go into this bush. The Tyrande does get this the interrupt with her bird. The Apocalypse does come out, as well as there's a huge stun onto the Chromie from the Tyrande. She will be falling. Expulsion Zone does come out. Genji is diving into the backline, trying to get so much damage off with his Dragon Blade, but unfortunately the Tyrande is just now falling. That was not enough time for the Arthas to stay alive, and the Dahaka actually ends up getting the tongue and slows him from retreating, and that is going to be, it looks like, 10 shots going up against Ascension. Yeah, it looks like they're going to go ahead and keep aggressing onto some of these members. They're going to get the kill onto Malfurion. And that's going to be 5 shots from the mid lane and 5 shots from the bottom. So this is going to be getting really, really tight for Ascension. Now, they still have every way of bringing this map back. It's Towers of Doom. This map has so many comeback mechanics. You know, a good team wipe or something like that. But they're going to go ahead and, with some of the members still down, they're going to confirm 4 more shots onto the enemy core, which will put them in range of dying at the next altar spawn. I don't think the next one could be a 3 altar phase, but I believe it's randomized at this point in this map, so it could be still. As well as they could guide a few of those sappers into the bottom lane, but they're going to go ahead and reclaim that fort. Now,
The tower is mine.
with that,
As it should be.
this is just such an amazing game between these two teams, just going back and forth. Now, a little bit more control on the side of Evel Medivhel, but some of these team fights have been going over to Ascension, so if they can just get the right team fight, get those backline members like they have been with the Genji and the Arthas, and that Chromie just poking, as long as the Chromie doesn't get melted down too quickly, it's going to be, that's the key for Ascension to come back. Now, they go ahead, they confirm this top, so that's just less shots up against their core. Zarya and Genji have been working on this camp down here, so they're going to probably try and pair that into this bell tower down here. Try and save their core from getting too many more shots on it. But at the same time, 20 is close on the side of Ascension, and this is going to be the extreme moment. Looks like Medivhel will be able to clear up this camp before it confirms the tower. Diablo does go in onto the Genji, getting this flip and the turnaround, but they get the stun onto him as well, so they're going to have to just play extremely safe. Now, Chromie does have the artillery to kind of poke down this keep. I believe, yeah, that's a keep at this point. So with that, we do have the Dahaka currently in top. Looks like he is going to try and capture this altar. There is the Genji there for the poke. I'm trying to watch these both, I'm so sorry. But it looks like the Apocalypse is going to be coming out. Greymane is going to be rooted with the Diablo. Now they are getting a ton of damage onto the Arthas, but the Malfurion is actually going to be pulled away from the enemy, from the team, and he will be falling here. Now Greymane is getting, okay, it's getting chunked a little bit on this from the Chromie, but it looks like that is going to be GG. Well played. Second game going over to Evel Medivhel.